She's not asking questions to get answers. She's asking to measure your depth. And if you don't understand what she's really testing, you'll fail without even realizing it. Emotional maturity has a quiet power that physical appearance simply cannot compete with. While looks may spark initial attention, they don't sustain connection. What truly holds someone's interest, what creates depth, trust, and lasting attraction, is the way a person handles emotions, pressure, and real-life situations. An emotionally mature man doesn't react impulsively. He doesn't let his ego control his behavior or allow temporary feelings to dictate permanent actions. Instead, he understands himself. He knows when to speak, when to listen, and when to step back. This level of control creates a sense of calm around him, and that calm becomes magnetic. For a woman, emotional maturity feels like safety, not just physical safety, but psychological and emotional safety. It means she doesn't have to walk on eggshells, wondering what might trigger him. It means she can express herself without fear of overreaction, judgment, or withdrawal. That kind of stability is rare, and because it's rare, it becomes incredibly attractive. Physical appearance may draw someone in, but it often fades in importance once real interaction begins. If a man is good-looking but insecure, reactive, or emotionally unavailable, that attraction quickly turns into discomfort. On the other hand, a man who may not fit conventional standards of beauty, but carries himself with confidence, patience, and emotional awareness often becomes far more appealing over time. Emotional maturity also shows in how a man handles challenges. He doesn't crumble under stress or lash out when things don't go his way. He remains grounded, solution-focused, and composed. That resilience signals strength on a deeper level, one that goes beyond surface-level traits. In the end, emotional maturity isn't loud or attention-seeking. It doesn't need to be. Its impact is felt, not forced. And that feeling of being understood, respected, and emotionally secure is what creates real, lasting attraction. Charm can open the door, but stability determines whether she stays. When a woman tests a man, she's not looking to be entertained, she's looking to feel grounded. Charm is easy to display in controlled moments, good conversation, humor, confidence in a social setting. But stability reveals itself when things are uncertain, when emotions shift, or when situations don't go as planned. Her tests are rarely obvious. They show up in small changes, delayed responses, subtle disagreements, moments of unpredictability. In those moments, she's observing more than your words. She's watching your reactions. Do you become anxious when attention isn't constant? Do you overcompensate when you feel her pulling back? Or do you remain steady, unaffected, and centered in yourself? A man who relies only on charm often struggles here. When the energy isn't flowing perfectly, he tries harder, talks more, pushes more, seeks reassurance. But this effort, instead of building attraction, creates pressure. It reveals that his confidence depends on her response, not on his own internal balance. Stability, on the other hand, is quiet and consistent. It shows in how you handle silence without discomfort, how you respond to challenges without defensiveness, and how you maintain your sense of self regardless of external changes. It tells her that you're not easily shaken, that your mood, your mindset, and your direction don't fluctuate based on temporary emotions. This is what makes stability so attractive. It feels reliable. It feels safe. It allows her to relax, knowing she doesn't have to manage your emotions or guess where she stands every moment. In a world where many interactions are driven by uncertainty and inconsistency, a stable presence stands out immediately. In the end, charm may capture her attention, but stability earns her trust. And without trust, attraction can't deepen. It can only fade. Confidence becomes truly attractive only when it is free from arrogance. On the surface, the two can look similar. Both involve certainty, strong presence, and self-belief, but the difference is felt immediately. Confidence is grounded and calm, while arrogance is loud and compensating. A confident man doesn't need to prove himself. He knows his value, but he doesn't feel the need to constantly display it. He speaks with clarity, not to dominate the conversation, but to express himself honestly. He listens just as well as he talks, because he isn't threatened by other perspectives. This balance creates ease around him. People feel comfortable, not intimidated. Arrogance, on the other hand, often comes from insecurity. It shows up as overconfidence, constant self-praise, or the need to one-up others. Instead of creating connection, it creates distance. A woman can sense when a man is trying too hard to appear important, and it weakens the very impression he's trying to build. What was meant to look like strength starts to feel like instability. The key difference lies in intention. Confidence is internally driven. It comes from self-awareness, experience, and acceptance of both strengths and flaws. Arrogance is externally driven. It seeks validation, attention, and superiority. One invites connection, the other blocks it. When a woman interacts with a man who is confident without arrogance, she feels respected. He doesn't talk down to her, dismiss her opinions, or try to control the dynamic. Instead, he stands firm in who he is while allowing her to be who she is. That mutual space creates a natural and powerful attraction. True confidence also shows in how a man handles mistakes. He can admit when he's wrong without feeling diminished. He can grow without defensiveness. That level of emotional strength is rare, and it leaves a lasting impression. In the end, confidence draws her in, but humility is what makes her stay. Experience by itself means very little. Time passes for everyone, and simply going through situations doesn't guarantee growth. What truly matters is how those experiences shape your mindset, how they refine the way you think, respond, and carry yourself. A man can go through years of relationships, challenges, and failures, yet still react with the same insecurity, impatience, or confusion. In that case, his experience becomes repetition, not evolution. On the other hand, a man who reflects, learns, and adapts turns even a few key experiences into deep wisdom. That difference is immediately felt in how he shows up. When a woman is drawn to an older or more experienced man, she isn't impressed by stories alone. She's not looking for a list of things you've done or people you've known. She's paying attention to what those experiences did to you. Did they make you more grounded, more understanding, more in control of your emotions? Or did they leave you guarded, bitter, and reactive? Your mindset reveals the answer. It shows in the way you handle pressure, how you speak about your past, and how you approach the present. A man who has truly grown doesn't carry unnecessary weight from what he's been through. He doesn't project old pain onto new situations. Instead, he moves with clarity, using his past as guidance, not as baggage. This is what makes experience attractive when it's real. It creates depth. It allows you to remain calm where others panic, patient where others rush, and confident where others doubt. It gives your words substance because they come from understanding, not assumption. Without that transformation, experience becomes empty. It may sound impressive on the surface, but it lacks impact. But when experience shapes your mindset, it changes everything. It turns time into wisdom, and wisdom into presence. Leadership that creates real attraction isn't about control. It's about energy. Control tries to force outcomes, direct behavior, and dominate situations. Energy, on the other hand, influences without pressure. It guides without demanding. And that difference is what makes it powerful. When a man leads with control, it often comes from insecurity. He feels the need to manage everything: how she responds, how situations unfold, even how emotions are expressed. At first, it might appear decisive, but over time, it creates tension. It makes the interaction feel rigid, predictable, and emotionally confined. No one feels free in that kind of environment, and without freedom, attraction slowly fades. Leading with energy is completely different. It's subtle, calm, and natural. It shows in the way you carry yourself, the pace you set, and the emotional tone you bring into a space. You're not telling her what to do. You're creating an atmosphere she wants to step into. Your presence becomes the direction. This kind of leadership is rooted in self-control, not control over others. You're aware of your emotions, but you're not ruled by them. You stay grounded when things shift, and that consistency becomes something she can feel. It draws her in because it removes pressure. She doesn't feel pushed or pulled. She feels guided. Attraction grows in that space. It allows her to respond naturally, to express herself without resistance. And because there's no force involved, her engagement becomes genuine. She's choosing to follow your lead, not reacting to it. True leadership also includes awareness. You notice her energy, her comfort, her responses, and you adjust without losing yourself. That balance, being present while staying centered, is what makes your leadership feel effortless rather than imposed. In the end, control seeks obedience, but energy inspires connection. And connection is what sustains attraction far beyond the surface. There's a quiet shift that happens when a woman becomes drawn to an older man. It's not loud, it's not obvious, but it's powerful. She's not just looking at him the way she looks at others, she observes more, she listens differently, and most importantly, she begins to test, not in the way most men think, but in a way that reveals who he truly is beneath the surface. Speech. When a woman craves an older man, it's rarely about age itself. It's about what age is supposed to represent: grounded energy, emotional control, clarity, and a sense of direction. But she doesn't assume you have these qualities just because you've lived longer. She needs to feel them, and the only way she can feel them is by testing you. These tests don't come with warning signs. They show up in simple, almost casual questions. Questions that seem harmless on the surface, but carry weight underneath. The first question often sounds like curiosity, but it's actually a challenge. She might ask about your past, your experiences, or even your failures. Not because she wants the story, but because she wants to see how you carry it. Do you speak with calm ownership, or do you sound bitter, defensive, or stuck? In that moment, she's not judging what happened to you. She's judging who you became because of it. An older man who understands his journey doesn't need to impress. He doesn't oversell his wins or hide his losses. There's a quiet confidence in how he speaks. No rush, no tension, no need for validation. And that energy alone tells her more than any story ever could. But if you react emotionally, if you try too hard to prove something, or if you avoid depth altogether, she feels it instantly. And attraction begins to fade, not because of your past, but because of your relationship with it. The second question is even more subtle. It often comes in the form of disagreement, challenge, or even slight resistance. She might question your opinion, test your boundaries, or push against your perspective. And this is where most men fail, because they think it's about being right. It's not. She's watching how you handle pressure. Do you stay composed, or do you become reactive? Do you stand firm in your beliefs, or do you fold just to keep her approval? This is where she measures your emotional stability. An older man who truly understands his value doesn't get shaken by disagreement. He doesn't need to dominate, and he doesn't need to submit. He listens, he responds with clarity, and he holds his ground without tension. That balance, calm strength without force, is what creates attraction. But if you argue to win or retreat to avoid conflict, you reveal uncertainty. And uncertainty breaks the image she was hoping to find in you. These two questions, these small moments, are never random. They are her way of feeling your presence beyond words. Because what she's really searching for is a man who doesn't just look experienced, but feels stable. And stability is not something you say. It's something you embody. It shows in how you pause before speaking, in how you don't rush to fill silence, in how you remain unaffected by things that would shake others. That's what separates a man who simply aged from a man who evolved. Because in the end, she's not craving an older man. She's craving the energy of a man who has mastered himself.